Did you know that mosquitoes are actually one of like the deadliest species in existence? Not because like they are in and of themselves deadly, but because of all the diseases that they can carry and transmit. Down here in Florida, because it's been hurricaning already, mosquitoes are really, really bad. So we need to highlight Fowl Pox, which is a mosquito transmitted disease. I mean, they can transmit it to each other once a chicken becomes infected, but the primary infector, is that how you say it? Is that the scientific term? The primary way that chickens become infected with fowl pox is via mosquito bites. Fortunately for me, unfortunately for this video, I don't have any chickens right now with fowl pox to show you. There is some reason for that, which I will discuss as well. One of the first things, there's two types of fowl pox. Both of them are viral diseases, which means antibiotics will not kill the infection. It just needs to run its course. The good news about fowl pox is it's like chicken pox is in humans, and that the chickens they're only going to get it one time. They're going to build up immunities and they're never going to be able to get it again. You have wet pox and you have dry pox. Dry pox is usually what we see more often. Dry pox presents as lesions all over the comb and wattles. They look like little black dots, blisters. The mortality rate from dry pox is low, which means usually chickens won't die from it. If you see death while they're dealing with this disease, oftentimes it's because the immune system was compromised and some other thing happened and they didn't have the ability to fight it off or cope with it properly. Or maybe their immune system was already compromised. Wet fowl pox tends to be a little more dangerous and it presents more likely as respiratory symptoms. It could be like respiratory in terms of sneezy or like drippy running eyes and nose. Usually also alongside the respiratory symptoms with wet pox. And one of the key indicators that we're dealing with wet pox is canker. And canker looks like this really kind of gross, cheesy stuff that you'll see inside the mouth and down the throat. Oftentimes with canker, you got to keep an eye on it and clean it, like pick it out gently, because what can happen is as it keeps growing, it'll become more and more difficult for the chickens to eat and drink. If you find that one of your chickens is infected with fowl pox, either wet or dry, there's a good chance that the virus is just going to run its course throughout your entire flock and it's going to be slow moving. Thing to do in the meantime is to provide clean, fresh, like you already know, is to provide clean, fresh water. Keep your feeders and waters clean, because the way that this virus is going to spread around your flock is via infected like droplets and like shedding of whatever is coming out of those blisters if they're leaking. That's gross. Also, you can do things that support the immune system. These products here, Avaplex is one, and Nutriplex W is another one. You can get them through betterflock.com. There's actually, I have links all over the place. These are products designed to aid in building immune support and gut support and aiding chickens in times of stress and illness. They're created with things like oil of oregano, like dried egg yolk, to like help pack our chickens with vitamins and nutrients that are necessary to help aid them through difficult times and illness. In addition to oil of oregano, oil of garlic is really great for building natural immunities and minimizing stress as much as possible. I know that it's probably instinct in these scenarios when you have a sick chicken, and I know it's probably even suggested in a lot of cases when you have a sick chicken to separate them from the flock. This is one of those scenarios where you got to weigh out the odds, and I'm going to share with you what I would do, and by all means, take the information and make your own decision. When dealing with fowl pox, only time I would separate a chicken is if that chicken was so bad off that it needed to be separated so that I could give it special care in terms of like nutrients. If I needed to like syringe feed it egg yolk or magic water or something, if it was so bad off that I felt like it needed its stress to be reduced so much that putting it alone in a crate somewhere, they would be better off. Honestly, in some scenarios, I feel like that situation could actually create more stress for the bird accidentally. And chickens are flock animals. When you separate a chicken from the flock for like a period, I mean, even as little as like a week, they could have problems reintegrating back with the flock. So if we have to separate a bird, it's always a good idea to try to do it with a buddy that's not going to like exacerbate the problem. Like I said earlier, with fowl pox, it is a viral disease. There's a good chance it's just gonna run its course through your entire flock anyways. And I'm just old enough to remember when I was a kid and the other kids got chicken pox, our parents literally used to send them to their house and have chicken pox parties so that we would all just get exposed so that we could all recover quickly and just be done with it. And that's really the motto that I personally have taken with my chickens and fowl pox. But again, it's easy for me to say this because I haven't really seen fowl pox in my flock in years. I may have seen like one or two newer birds, maybe from different lines, who have come down with fowl pox, but I certainly haven't seen any losses. And a lot of that is because I have seen fowl pox before. Many of my chickens have their own natural immunities, and my experience would tell me that maybe even perhaps some of those parent stock, some of those OG chickens have passed down some immunity to their young. I mean, maybe even enough so that even if the newer birds did contract the virus, that I didn't see any visible symptoms, because that's likely how it's going to go for your flock too. You'll have some birds who are totally asymptomatic, don't show any symptoms, and other birds who you see the lesions on, and then maybe if you see wet pox, some birds who present with those respiratory issues and canker.